Hello everybody and welcome to Furi, a game that tells us that being locked up in such a cancerous society, also known as 2018, really fucks us up inside. Yes, I'm your host that hasn't been existing in 2 months, Friendly Taco Taco, back after losing so many games and wondering if I should just stop. But then, I remembered how special can games be, especially by the people who had passion to make it. One of them being third-person action game Furi. Want a game that is amazing by the atmosphere, short but explanatory story, and pure combat material, then Furi is the right game to do so. It doesn't kick into the story much, but it is really easy to understand as you progress through the game itself. Speaking of story, let's sum it all up real simply. The character you're playing at is called The Stranger, but it's too boring for me to call him like that, so I'm just gonna call him Future Yasuo. He starts up in a personal prison by our first boss, also known as the Chain. After a couple unnecessary torture scenes, this rabbit boy, also known as the Voice, gets him out of the prison and tells that the jailer is the key to get back home. Future Yasuo must go through several places and defeat each person living on it. And, well, that's mostly it, because going even deeper in it would be a bit too much. There's a bit much more in-depth to every single character. There's no need for it. The second part, what matters in Furi, is the gameplay itself. Pure fucking fight material. And it's not really one-on-one, hand-on-hand business. Furi manages to implement a bullet hell in mid of a combat game, making your reflexes work significantly more than just on hand-on-hand combat. Speaking of reflexes, Furi is a game where you don't really need a million buttons to play it. All you need is a WASD, left mouse button, a space bar, and this wonderful letter right here. Through my 3 hours of Furi gameplay, I've counted a total of 11 bosses, so let's scroll down through the whole list real quick. Obsessed with me going to the cell. Why though? A robot into deep BDSM. Echo after 50 years. Literally, judging by the design. A guy who never changes looks in any phase. 6 fucking phases and nothing happened. Someone who looks rather simple, but he's not. Arrogant, self-righteous, and cold. One-shotting sniper grill. Ah, shit! The guy who literally beat the shit out of me with an ore many times. Possibly the easiest boss ever. And the star. What amazed me during the gameplay is how after beating a boss, or going midway through it, you get to see that the camera takes really interesting perspectives of vision. It manages to aim at the right angle and make the game look more intense and cool at the same time. And it's every single time, no matter where I am or where I walk. The camera finds the right points to make the perspective stunning. Graphics are not like top-notch deal, but it is meant specifically for fighting, with a spice of design either way. With 3 choices of difficulty being Promenade, Furi, and Furier, the difference is noticeable in an instant. Promenade looks significantly simpler and the story cuts because of it. Because the main difficulty that Furi should be played is, well, Furi. Damn, I'm saying Furi a lot. Another special part of the game is the soundtrack itself. Of course, some bosses have less fun soundtracks, some bosses have better soundtracks, but nonetheless the game's theme fits with every single piece of the soundtrack that's been implemented with the game. It is made by several people, and they've done a great job at every single piece of it. Every single piece of the soundtrack was made spectacularly, and I give them credit for it. I definitely give them credit for it. I'm honestly amazed by how every different atmosphere of the game has its fitting soundtrack. It keeps me amazed to this point, and like I said, I'm definitely giving credit to the ones who made the soundtrack itself. The only problem with Furi is that it is mildly underrated. Sure, the game might seem short, but it is hella fun to try out. So that's why your reflexes against many bosses, especially this piece of shit, have a nice atmosphere to go with. It's really cool to see small companies make a passionate game that although might seem underrated, but the ones who played it, the ones who played Furi, have real good time remembering how they went through it. After all, let's sum it all up that we mentioned right in this video. Furi is a fast-paced game, combining elements of twin-stick shooters, bullet hell, and third-person action games. The player is challenged in one-on-one arena boss fights, getting progressively harder on the way. The diversity of opponents and attack patterns is there to make the player refine his or her skills and get better and better instead of increasing the character's stats or his weapons. Ultimately, feeling your skills improve as a player is what feels best in a video game. It shines out with many different aspects in a very small package. And honestly, no matter how difficult it sometimes might be, and sometimes how you may get salty and how it might even lead you to breaking a part 1 and 2, Furi is a really enjoyable game. It costs a bit of money, but I suggest you try it. It is a really good game. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. It's been a really long time since I actually made another video. I'm also quite glad, and I hope that I will keep moving to it. If you liked it and you want to see my past content, feel free to check out my channel. If you feel like checking out more content in the future, feel free to subscribe and let yourself know when the new friendly taco comes out. And as always, eat tacos, stay swaggy, and I'll talk to you later.